The term shit testing came about with the spread of the pickup artist community, and the origins are most likely rooted in the famous Neil Straus book The Game. This term is very well known among the manosphere, and it has always been seen as obstacle, as attack to defend oneself against, and as a riddle for which one has to prepare a strategy in order to defeat it and to get closer to the woman. Yes, woman. Shit testing is always linked with a woman who always uses it against a man. I think we are finally past the 2010s of pickup artistry and slang and can finally see the things for what they truly are, since we should now have a firm grasp on what were the modern pioneers of skirt chasing, observing in real life behavior and social interactions and putting together in a form of describable set of rules and processes. Simply put, men like concrete things, so they look for patterns. I too was the victim of the explanation and meaning assigned to this by the aforementioned pioneers. But it did not take me long before I made my own observation and changed my mind. Today, I want to do the same for you, if you have not yet reached this point on your own. So let's get to it, shall we? Shit test. What does it mean, really? As I have mentioned, traditionally it was seen as something negative, for the men in the field to overcome. But the truth is much simpler than that. Simply put, the purpose of a shit test is for the inquiring to determine the congruency of the asked. That's it. It's that simple. So what is congruency, you ask? If you are not familiar with the PUA terminology, being congruent means to be truthful to your statements and what you project to the outside world. In other words, if a man says he is this or that, he is stating the truth and he is not making shit up. If a man rents an expensive suit, borrows friend's expensive watch and rents a Porsche in order to attend some high-class event, he is incongruent. He is pretending, he is lying. He does not even have to talk to anybody, but he is projecting to the world that he has money and is of higher social circles, whereas in truth, he is not. Being congruent is to be truthful. Obviously I am using example of a man because, as I have mentioned, shit tests are mostly a weapon of the women, but the same can be said about a woman that uses a push-up bra, silicone implants or Botox lips. So when such occasion happens, the woman simply tries to gauge if the man that is standing in front of her is real, so to speak, if he is faking it or not. As physically weaker breed, they have to weed out dangerous, fake suitors. Simply a natural behavior of human being interactions. They usually won't call it shit testing and the setting will be different, but people do it every single day. It does not even have to be verbal, it can be just a look, body language or tone of voice. We are testing one another constantly, and that's why people are mostly truthful in day-to-day life. The rise of this practice and encounters of it by the PUA community is completely natural because in the early days of the PUA community, it was fake it till you make it type of mentality and behavior. Men had no idea what they were doing, and so they simply had to fake their own behavior and personality in order to get the girls, because they thought that being what the girls say they want will get them the girls. So it was entirely fake interaction from the get-go, and the women felt it. As time went on, the natural game and day game were spawned from the community, and club game and fakery was a thing of the past. And with that, the shit testing receded as well. I hope you now understand that there is nothing wrong with shit tests and that this perfectly natural social technique was simply mislabeled in the early days of the pickup artistry that saw it as a form of attack. That was the past. Now how about the future? Yes, the future. Now that we understand this behavior and see that it is not harmful, that it is not an attack from one person on another, and that it is simply a completely natural tool to weed out lies and deception, what are we going to do about it? Or more precisely, how are we going to use it? Yes, use it. We as men have failed miserably on our part. Shit testing, or congruency testing, is a double-edged sword. Women can use it on men, but men can also use it on women. And this is where things will get very spicy. Females are naturally born physically weak. They are incapable of competing with men when it comes to the physical world. So as the second breed of the humankind, they had to develop other ways to level the play field. And this is where their social skills come to play. Women are way more developed in the social aspect of life. They can read small social cues and interactions and are master manipulators that were in training since they spoke their first words. During their childhood and teens, they have mastered the art of manipulation, lies, misdirection, doublespeak, and other verbal and social weapons that humans use to interact with one another. The men got the physical part, the women got the psychological part. Just like yin and yang. There must always be balance in the universe. Always. Armed with the weapons of mass destruction, they are capable of manipulating men to do their bidding. And not just a man, but men in general. Many men. Nowadays, the entire governments. But that is a topic for another video. Back to shit testing. So where I am going with this? Well, today, in the age of social media, where everything is on the internet and you just cannot hide things from your private life anymore, women are being exposed for the naturally deceiving creatures they are. Mostly their past. Sexual past. And we, men, care about it. Or we should, to be blatant. Men these days are so desperate for female attention and feminine energy in their lives that they consciously ignore the most blatant red flags. But sometimes the red flags are not that obvious, and sometimes our subconsciousness tells us something is wrong here, but we just cannot figure out what. We want to, but we can't. And this is the perfect time to employ this weapon. Shit test her. Find out if she truly is what or who she says she is. This works both ways, and women have to be subjected to the same measures as men used to be. A woman will use doublespeak. She will construct her sentences in a way to communicate what she wants to communicate, not what is true. But men are getting smarter these days, and women, even though they will lie and cheat and deceive, one thing they won't do is to do it blatantly. As I have said, they are very smart when it comes to social interactions, and they will always tell the truth, even if what they are convening is the complete opposite. They do it in order to have the plausible deniability. They cannot let themselves be caught in a lie. They always have to have a back door. So they will wrap the lie in a cinnamon roll, wrapped in an apple pie, sprinkled with a smile. If you are not a lawyer, or you're a bad listener, and cannot spot the lie that is hidden in plain sight under a specific word or term she uses in her speech, you will have to go directly at her and poke her a bit. Shake her a bit, see what sticks and what does not. These misdirections can be spotted in writing, quite easily, but are very hard to detect while listening. It's just the way our brains work, don't worry about it, it is normal. Plenty of con artists and salespeople are masters at it these days, and you are subjected to it on a daily basis while you don't even know it. But back to the woman that is standing in front of you. Don't just have a conversation where what she says goes into one ear and goes out the other one while you are just imagining banging her later on. No, stop that. Be present. Actually listen to her. And when you hear something that you feel wrong about, poke the bear. Ask her about it. And then ask her more. And more. Let the questions flow naturally, it is a conversation after all. Be curious, not aggressive prick trying to prove her wrong. Let her willingly hang herself on the rope you provide. Find the kernel of misdirection, spot the lie. Press her on the subject. Shit test her. I am not saying to just be a dick and rip on her. No, just be yourself and simply be curious. If she says she has been on a vacation in Caribbean, ask her about it. It is a perfectly natural topic and curiosity is to be expected. Was she alone or with friends? If she was with friends, were they all girls? If so, what did they do to let loose and have some fun? Were they just enjoying the nature, or were they dancing in the clubs until 3 a.m, night after night? If so, were there any exotic men? And so on. You get where I'm going with this. Just poke the bear. Slowly but politely. You are not trying to attack her, only to find out the truth that she might, and I am stressing the word might, be trying to hide from you. Women will lie about small things, but they will also lie about big things as well. Like being on a pill or not having STD. Sure, these are the extremes, and I am painting women in not very favorable light. But in the end, it is all about the truth and being frank with one another. All we want, men and women, is to connect. So let's get rid of these lies, these walls. Let's be naked in front of each other and just talk. Just like a woman would not sleep with you if you said you own an exotic car only to reveal it is a 20-year-old Japanese import where you can see the road through the rusted floor, the same applies if you think you have found a good Christian virgin girl only to find out that in reality she's been riding the college carousel for the past 3 years. So stop being overly polite and desperate. Stand for yourself, don't take shit from anyone. Don't let others take advantage of you. If you want a good woman, you have to go and find her. And that means you have to turn over one shell after another until you find the one hiding the prize. I am Spectre and I wish you luck, my friend.